everyone, this is Mindy for Lawnfawn, and in today's video I'm going to be creating a warm winter wishes card, and I'm taking a fall stamp set and turning it into a Christmas scene. So first I'm starting out with a piece of fog cardstock measuring 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I am going to add this forest border that I had die cut out of white cardstock. I want to have my background complete first, so I give it time to dry. Then I'm going to bring in the Snowy Sky stencil, and I'm going to place that over the top of my front panel. I'm going to hold this in place on the side and on the top with some Post-it tape, and then I'll flip it over and I'm going to add some sparkly snowflakes to the front of my card. I'm going to add the snowflakes using this icicle blue sparkle. So this is very similar to the Nuvo Moonstone that I've used in the past. This is just a different brand and it's just as gorgeous. So I'm scooping out a little bit using a spatula, and I'm going to drag this all over the front of my card. Now I kind of go up and down and back and forth because I want to make sure that the entire circle of the snow is covered. And then I'm dragging off any excess and I'll scoop that back into my jar. I also like to wipe my jar with a baby wipe just to make sure I am able to open it the next time I want to use it. Then I'm just carefully peeling back that stencil, and I'm going to set this off on the side to dry. The images for my card are going to be coming from the Let's Go Nuts stamp set and Toboggan together. The Let's Go Nuts was more of a fall themed, but I'm going to make these fun little squirrels enjoy the snowfall. And I do have that wagon there only because the sleigh in the Toboggan set was facing the other direction. So I know typically you don't have wagons pulling through the snow, but mine is going to, so that's what I'm going with. The images were stamped in Lawnfawn's jet black ink, and now I'm going to color them with my Copic markers. For the squirrels, I'm using E57, E55, E53, and E51. So I'm adding my shadow layer to the back side of the squirrels, or wherever I think is furthest away from the light source. Then I can just blend out with the remaining colors. I'll add a dab of pink to the tongue for the one squirrel. For the snowballs, I'm using one color, and that is BG000. And for the wagon, I have RV29, RV14, and RV13 with a dab of W4 for the handle. And then I have BG09 and BG13 for the scarves. Then I will line up the coordinating dies, hold them in place with the Post-it tape, and run these through my die cut machine. I love using the Oliver's Stitched ABCs to customize my sentiment for the front of my card, so I die cut out the word warm 3 times out of rainforest cardstock, and I'm going to layer them together with the liquid glue. This will just add a little bit of dimension to my word once I adhere it to the front of the card. The additional sentiment that I'll be using is coming from the Mice on Ice stamp set, and I'm going to have it say Winter Wishes, so I lined that up in my MISTI tool and then made sure it was straight by pushing it up with some MISTI corners. Now I'm stamping this in embossing ink onto mermaid cardstock, and I'm going to sprinkle on some white embossing powder, making sure that that is stuck to my embossing ink, tap off any excess. And then after my heat tool is nice and hot, I'm going to bring it to my cardstock and just melt that embossing powder. Then I can just take this over to my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim this down into a thin strip. I love how the mermaid cardstock and the rainforest cardstock really go together for kind of a non-traditional Christmas or winter scene. Now by using the paper trimmer, sometimes it doesn't give me a really nice flat edge like the die cuts do, so I'm taking a bone folder and just kind of pressing that down a little bit to help push that back down. Now that my panel is dry, which really didn't take too long, I can start adhering my images together. So I put the snowballs in the wagon and I added the scarves to the squirrels. The one squirrel that's kind of excited for the snow falling, I added some foam squares too. And then I'm bringing in the letters and that sub-sentiment, and I'm just lining up about where I want it to go. I added foam squares to the back of this sub-sentiment, so I'm starting with that first, making sure that I have even margin on each side. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to start lining up those top letters. The W and the M, I really want to make sure have even margins on each side so it doesn't look lopsided. So once I have that in place, I'm going to attach these with some liquid glue. I started with the W, and then I'm going to do the M and then work my way towards the middle. Now you'll notice the one side of the M is hanging over slightly and one side of the W is hanging over slightly. So I think that helped even that out. And I was able to get great spacing on this. I love how the fog cardstock creates just a really nice soft wintry scene, and then adding just a subtle background with the Cosmic Shimmer paste. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time.